Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so let me just make a couple comments at the beginning, and I'd be happy to answer some questions afterwards to the extent that I'm able. And thank you all for being here, for sticking around a little bit more and continuing to report on this really important case. It's been a long road, and obviously we had the sentencing today of R. Kelly, received a 20-year sentence here in the Northern District of Illinois for the crimes he was convicted of last year. My main point in coming down here is I want to thank three really important groups of people. First and foremost, I want to thank the victims in this case, and really in every case where we're dealing with sexual abuse, in particular sexual abuse of minors, for coming forward. It is so critically important to the criminal justice system in this country, and it was critically important in this case in particular for people to come forward and to tell their stories, which is not an easy thing to do. You all were in court during the trial in this case, and you saw how challenging it is for the victim of horrendous crimes like this to get up on the witness stand and to tell their story. And then you also had the chance to see the three victims today provide statements. Two victims directly provide statements, and one through her lawyer. And they were very powerful words. And it really is important that they came forward today. Those words were impactful, and I cannot thank enough the folks who came forward so that we were able to bring R. Kelly to justice and to be able to receive the sentence that we did receive today of 20 years. So that's the first group of people I want to thank. Second, I want to thank the people in my office, the four prosecutors on this case, the outstanding prosecutors, Janice Appentang, Libby Pizzolo, Jason Julian, and Brian Williamson, who were at court during the trial. We had other people who handled this case before they were involved. We have support staff in our office. And importantly, we have victim witness people in our office who are the best in the business in ensuring that we're able to bring impactful prosecutions like this. And I can't thank them enough on behalf of the people of Illinois that we were able to bring this case, obtain guilty verdicts and obtain the sentence that we did today. And then the last group of people I want to thank are the law enforcement officers who just did tireless work for years and years in order, again, to bring R. Kelly to justice on the crimes that we charged here. First and foremost was Homeland Security Investigations, and we have Sean Fitzgerald, who's the special agent in charge from HSI, who's here, and he's going to say a couple words after I do. IRS Criminal Investigations, Justin Campbell, the special agent in charge, is here from IRS as well. We obviously have the Chicago Police Department, who worked throughout this case and working with us. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Cook County State's Attorney's Office provided valuable support, and you all know they had their own case and things before that. Really it's the tireless work by law enforcement to listen to the victims in cases, to follow up and to identify other people who have a story to tell. That is what allows us to bring people to justice. And so I can't thank them all enough for all the work that they've done. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Special Agent in Charge from HSI, and then after that I'll answer a question or two. So thank you.
Thank you, Attorney John Lausch. As John said, my name is Sean Fitzgerald. I'm the Special Agent in Charge for Homeland Security Investigations in Chicago. First, I would like to start by acknowledging, just like John had done, the victims, specifically the three ladies that had spoke today in their witness statements. If you were there, you were moved by it. It was amazing to allow them that opportunity to be heard. Not to mention all the other victims and everyone else, not just in this case, but in any case that deals with child exploitation or human trafficking or anything like that. It's very important for victims to know that law enforcement and the justice system is here for them, to protect them, to help them, to give them a voice. Next, I would also like to thank our case agents and our partner agencies that invested countless hours over multiple years into this investigation. Whether it was the Homeland Security agents, the CPD officers, the IRS agents, they dedicated multiple hours of their time to hear those victims and chase that evidence down. From there, I would like to thank the U.S. Attorney's Office. John Lausch and his team has been tremendous and a great support throughout this case. The Cook County State's Attorney's Office has been a great partner as well throughout the case. Obviously, Chicago Police Department and Internal Revenue Service have been great partners. Today's sentencing is a reminder that power and privilege does not exempt anyone from the reach of the long arm of the law. In spite of his fame and fortune, Mr. Kelly has been sent a clear message that the sexual exploitation of children will not be tolerated. HSI and its partners strive to stand in the gap between vulnerable people and those intent on harming them, whether through child exploitation, human trafficking, or a myriad of other crimes. We at DHS embrace a victim-centered approach to our investigations that ensures victims are removed from exploitive situations and that critical services are provided. HSI and our partners will continue to fight this worthy fight and to stand up for those who are temporarily unable to stand up for themselves. Thank you all for your time today.
How do you spell Sean?
Sean is spelled S-E-A-N, Fitzgerald, F-I-T-Z-G-E-R-A-L-D.
So I'll answer a question or two. If anyone has any.
John, your team sought a much longer sentence for R. Kelly. Is your office satisfied with the sentence that came down today?
Yeah, so to unpack that a bit, so if we look at, 20 years is a significant sentence. And what that means, regardless of anything else, regardless of what happens with the 30 years in New York, and you heard today that case is going to go on appeal. I'm sure this case will be appealed to by the defense, which is their right. But a 20-year sentence in this case is impactful. That ensures that there will be a significant period of time that R. Kelly will not be out on the streets to be able to do additional harm to others. So, first and foremost, I think we need to recognize that. That's really important. Are we disappointed that we didn't get more of a consecutive sentence? Absolutely. We asked for more of a consecutive sentence. And really, one of the big things we're disappointed at, we're disappointed that we didn't get more on the restitution front. Restitution is critically important in these cases. That's why it's mandated by law. And again, just to be frank about it, we are disappointed that did not turn out differently at this point. But if we come back to the baseline again, 20 years is a significant sentence, and we are happy that was imposed in this case, and that does ensure the safety of the community for those years, at least based upon these facts in this particular case.
Did you do anything to challenge the restitution decision, or does that stand?
The question was whether we could do anything to challenge the restitution decision. It's complex, so at this point, I guess I'm not comfortable in in commenting one way or the other as to whether there's anything else that could be done on that front.
Were there talks, the judge brought this up, were there talks with New York about maybe consolidating the cases into one, or maybe after he was convicted there and sentenced to 30 years, or convicted, using some of the victims in this case as his sentencing?
Yeah. No, so I'm not going to get into any talks we did or didn't have with another district. But what I will say is, what happened here is really not all that different that happens. There's distinct conduct that happens in different locations involving different victims. And that's why there were two separate cases, right? There was a case in New York, and there was different charges, and there were different victims in play. And here in Chicago, again, different charges, different victims. And one of the reasons why this was such an important case to bring here in Chicago was the abuse of Jane, and then the obstruction of the state court grand jury proceedings, and then the criminal trial back in 2008. And you heard the judge say that by preponderance there was obstruction of justice, and that was one of the factors he considered in enhancing that sentence. So that was really important to do. But I think the key is, regardless of whether they're brought together or not, and whether that's even possible, is that what criminal law does is it punishes people, for the conduct they commit, and the violent conduct like this, things involving sexual abuse, things involving violent crime. You look at the harm that's caused to each particular victim, and so that's why we believed it was very appropriate to consider them separately here.
How long will he have to serve barring any successful appeals?
So generally speaking, in the federal system, good time, it's 85%, I think it's 88, 85%. But again, that is really pretty speculative. When you kind of look at it, it does depend on whether or not someone actually receives their good time or not. But I think it's fair to say that there'll be a number of years, barring any successful appeal, that R. Kelly will be incarcerated, and that's a good thing.
If there is a successful appeal in New York,
The sentence will stand on its own. Exactly. That's exactly right. So, thank you all for your time today. We really appreciate it.